This video is for my big dicked guys out there and the women who love them or who want to love them but aren't sure that they can. And if you are an average sized guy watching this video because you cannot believe that there is anything to say other than giddy up ladies, then watch this all the way to the end because this video has a lot to teach you too. It is true that big dicks have been fetishized and glamorized by society, by men just as much as by women. There is a lot of content out there for men who are on the smaller side. I have made several videos on how to make smaller penises go the distance, and I have fallen into the trap of neglecting to talk about how f***ing with or a large penis is absolutely no walk in the park for most people. Not only do many women find it painful to have penetration with larger penises, it can make things like oral sex more challenging as well. On top of that, there's a stigma around being a well-hung man. And although lots of women would like to experience a truly big penis, a truly big lover once or twice, there aren't as many women who see that same man as potential long-term partner material. And that sucks and is also kind of objectifying for those men. In my time as a coach, I have worked with single men as well as couples who had major issues in the bedroom that were pretty much exclusively related to the large size of the man's penis. And look, yes, there are size queens out there and size kings out there who love to and can happily take a huge penis every night, and power to you folks. But in my experience, that tends to be the exception and not the rule. Great sex is absolutely achievable regardless of what you are packing. You just have to know what to do with it. And that is exactly what I'm going to teach you in this video. So without further ado, let's dive in, but slowly, like really slowly, because we don't want to get hurt. Here are my 5 tips for having sex with a big penis. Number 1, address the elephant trunk in the room. Surprise, surprise, the first step to having great sex with a large penis is, can I get a drum roll? Communication! Oh, who saw that coming? Subscribers did. Many men with large penises face the constant worry that they are going to hurt their partners during intercourse. And many of their partners find it challenging to get into positions that work for both bodies. The only way to make it work is to address it. Share with your partner exactly how you feel about the situation. Do it kindly, considerately, but don't hold anything back. We gotta have a real conversation about this. Together, you can accept the challenge that you are being faced with in the bedroom. You can accept that some vaginal canals are smaller than others, and some bodies fit together during penetration in ways that can cause pain or discomfort or pleasure and orgasms. The only way to find out what works is to literally have a conversation that allows you to develop a game plan. And of course, the ability to communicate during sex is as important as the ability to communicate before and after. And of course, communication doesn't end with just addressing that situation. You are going to need to communicate thoroughly at every intersection what works for you and what works for your body together. And it's worth saying here that no two bodies are alike. You can always expect that there's going to be some trial and error with every single person that you sleep with anew. And even bodies change over time. So if you've been married for 20 or 30 years, your bodies are still always changing and there's still so much to navigate together. Luckily, what you'll find is that this communication process actually builds a lot of trust and intimacy. All right, number 2 tip, go slow. Okay, this may go without saying, but if you're packing down there or you're about to have sex with someone who's packing down there, speed is not your friend. I mean, speed and urgency really don't have a ton of space inside of the bedroom unless you're having a quickie. See my video on that. But this does not mean that you should simply rely on pushing the penis in inch by inch. This method is uncomfortable and it doesn't actually alleviate the discomfort, but more importantly, it is not a long-term solution. As much as this can work maybe in a one-night stand, it cannot work over a lifetime. Even without the added challenge of a large penis, the female body takes time to warm up and become aroused enough for comfortable penetration. So when you add a big dick into the equation, taking your time with things becomes doubly important. And of course, when I say taking your time, I don't mean just physically slowing down the thrusting, although that is definitely something that you want to do. I mean slowing down with everything. Leave ample time for foreplay. Make sure that every time you're having penetrative sex that the receiving partner is fully warmed up and aroused. And it's worth noting that the female body does this cool thing called vaginal tenting, that as a woman gets aroused, her uterus basically moves up and out of the way, thus allowing her vaginal canal to lengthen. So no matter what size you are, more time is needed for that vaginal canal to be able to take all of you. Great foreplay is crucial for amazing sex, but if you're packing a little extra, it can make or break the entire experience. And on to number 3, find the right positions. When it comes to having pleasurable and comfortable sex with a large penis, positioning has a huge, pun not intended, part to play. When it comes to navigating sex with a large penis, there are 2 elements to consider: length and girth. And positioning can make both easier to handle, but they're especially crucial when you're trying to avoid the discomfort that is caused by going too deep or slamming into the cervix. The key is to start with positions where the receiver has control over the depth and speed of penetration. I gotta say it again here, guys. Every body is different. So you're gonna wanna do some gentle experimentation to find what works for your individual pairing. Cowgirl is generally a good place to start. That's the female on top of the man, and she is, as the receiver, she's got complete and total control over depth and rhythm. And try cowgirl both with the male partner lying flat on a bed and with him with his back supported by pillows or like the back of a couch. Typically, one is going to work better for you both. Having sex in a spooning position with the receiver taking more of a lead on the thrusting is another great way to go. And some other positions that you can try are the seated straddle or a very slow and gentle missionary, because everyone loves a little vanilla sex once in a while. For the most part, you'll want to be mindful of positions from which you can easily hit the cervix, which can be very painful. Again, we're all different, and I can't state that enough. Like, everyone's positions are a little bit different, but most people experience that their cervix can get hit very easily in doggy style, missionary with legs up, or a pile driver position. So if you are in the mood for any of those, proceed with caution. If you are planning on doing any of those and say you know that there is a certain depth her body's capable of receiving you, you can use these cool tools called O-nuts or anything else that actually goes around the base of your penis at the desired length and prevents you from going all the way in, because it's hard to remember in the heat of the moment. All right, number 4, prepare her body. In order to truly enjoy sex with a larger than average penis, the receiver may need to go on a bit of a solo journey to prepare. First, addressing any anxiety or tension around the experience is important because the vagina is a muscle. And just like all of your other muscles, it tenses up when it's stressed or when it thinks that it's going to get hurt. It's sort of like the muscle in your eye. Like if you go to poke your eye closes, it winces automatically. The vagina is no different. It actually, if it's experiencing any fear or anxiety about what's about to go in, it can close and cause sex to hurt a lot more than it would otherwise. If you are struggling to take in a larger partner, ask yourself if there's anything that's standing in the way of you feeling comfortable and relaxed. Maybe there's like relationship stuff or something that's on your mind that you actually need to express. And of course, breathing exercises and frequent masturbation will help you to calm your own nervous system and know what turns you on and how to get yourself to pleasure and to arousal and even to orgasm with greater ease. And of course, you can try different sizes of dildos to see what's comfortable for you when you are on your own. Make sure that the partner that you're with makes you feel really safe and able to relax, because if you are clenched in any way, you're definitely going to feel it. You won't be able to pretend that things are all cool. You won't be able to force your body to do something that it doesn't want to do. I'm a huge fan of yoni massage. If you ask me, this is something that all people with vulvas should be receiving from their partners, regardless of penis size, which is why I've made not one, but 2 videos on the art of the yoni massage, that is massaging the vulva and the inside of the vagina. It is a great way to relax your partner's body, to get them fully aroused, and to get them to maximum readiness to take you in. And of course, just because someone is completely prepared and as aroused as they possibly possibly can be. Doesn't mean that there aren't any other risks to taking in a large penis. There is always a risk of tearing if your body is not capable of expanding to that size. So it's not an entirely risk-free scenario. Make sure that you're using protection and that you're having nuanced conversations about safer sex and what other sex that you're having so that you can feel as safe and prepared as possible. And finally, when it comes to prep and prepping for large dicks, lube is your friend. Now be sure not to use an oil-based lube with condoms, and make sure while we're on the subject of condoms that you are using the right size condoms, and that's true no matter what size you are. You should know, you can do a quick Google, different condom companies make different size condoms. There's not a standard magnum or regular size condom. And by the way, regular size condoms do fit on extra large penises. So never ever use that as an excuse or receive that as an excuse not to use a barrier. And then finally, number 5, expand your experience of pleasure. If the size of your penis is making it physically difficult or mentally uncomfortable for you or your partner, it can be helpful to take the pressure off of penetrative sex and remember that sexual pleasure goes so far beyond penetration. We've got hands and mouths and toys, and yes, of course, for many of us, vaginal penetration is like the apex and the gold standard, and trust that if it's meant to be, you will get there. But in the meantime, making each other feel good, fulfilling each other's erotic desires, using all of the wonderful options that you have available is still a really, really awesome use of the time that you have here on planet Earth and together. If you have any questions on how to do that or how to get creative in the bedroom, my course, Epic Lover, is the place to go to drink from the well of endless creativity. And of course, you can also look at the erotic blueprints or my entire YouTube channel. Once you relieve the pressure of pleasure being solely achieved by penetration, you can actually learn to enjoy every inch of each other's bodies in new ways. And the size of a penis suddenly becomes a much less important part of your experience, and that is a good piece of advice for everyone. And it's worth saying once more, don't forget to bring in tools to help, like the O-Nut or male blowjob toys that act like an extension of your mouth that makes oral sex less strenuous but way more pleasurable for the person receiving it. And of course, vibrators and toys that are for her pleasure can always help. So can we all let go of the idea that sex is just P and V until we both orgasm? I mean, great sex can look like a million different things. As long as you're bringing pleasure and connection to each other, you are doing it right. All of these pieces of information are valuable no matter what size it is that you are packing there. And I guarantee whatever you're packing, it's absolutely perfect. I would love to hear from you in the comments, other tips and techniques that you have used to make penises of different sizes work at their absolute best and most pleasurable. I love hearing from you. Make sure that you are subscribed, and I will see you here next week. Bye.